Welcome to Unselfishly Me, a podcast all about self-love, self-care, and everything in between. I'm Jane, a personal trainer with a focus on self-love. Each week, we'll be chatting to someone about their self-love journey, how long it took, and what it took to get there. Today, I am talking about something that affected so many of us. It was traumatic. It was something we didn't see coming. It was scary. It was intense. It was terrifying. It was horrifying. It was life-changing. I don't think that any of us will be the same again. So, let's talk about the KZN Unrest. It has taken me a few weeks to actually pluck up the courage to talk about this. I have been traumatized, to put it quite bluntly. It was, I've never experienced anything like this in my life, and I hope that I never have to experience anything like this again. Even though we were not in the inverted commas firing line and we were safely in our houses, the feeling of terror that ripped through each and every one of us is something that I will never, ever forget. I can literally sit here and start picturing and remembering things about that week, and my heart rate, I can feel it already, starts increasing, getting faster. The adrenaline starts releasing, and I can kind of feel that little panic in my chest. My eyes start watering, and it's just like, I don't cry a lot. Most of you know that about me. Not trying to be cool. It's just Leo sun, Leo moon, and then Aquarius rising. So I'm not like, if I was Cancer, like Pepe's Cancer, like, it's a lot softer, a lot more water, a lot more emotional. I'm like fire, fire. So for me, I'm not a super emotional person. Not that I don't want to be, it's just who I am. And I cried that week so much. I'd be talking to Nick about how terrified I was, and then I'd stop and he's like, what? And then I'd literally, like, I've never in my life experienced that fear. There's just, I cannot even. And I know that people that were involved and know about it are just sitting there nodding, like, wow. So unexpected. I think also, like, on the Sunday, you see all these places getting looted in like Maritzburg and other places, and you're like, wow, it's like so far away. Shame, I feel so bad, like I can't believe this. And you're watching it intently, and then Monday it just started, and you're like, what is happening? It got to a point where it came thousands of people, and they were like at Macro, which is down the road from us. It's about 2Ks away from us, 3Ks. And that was bad enough. Then you hear about and you see the visuals of the videos from a helicopter at Queen Nandi, where there are thousands and thousands of people just looting all the warehouses there. Some are armed, some are not. There's the massive sheer volume carrying, fire torches and torching things and burning things. And I mean, it's 3 kilometers away. That is not far. Most people run a 5K and it's not far for them. Like 3K is like, I cannot even explain the sheer panic and terror. And I think it's, even if you didn't have an access road that was going towards you, to your house, just that, that fear and that panic, you don't know what's going to happen. It's very unstable. You just don't know. Things can just, the way things happened, and that things just kicked off so quickly and it was so unexpected. You don't know what's going to happen. Yes, they're looting shops and warehouses and stuff, but you don't know that they're not going to come into the residential area and loot, and you're not safe. I mean, we don't have guns and stuff like that, so can't protect ourselves. And you have a little child. Like, having a tiny tot is the most terrifying thing. I remember I had just stopped locking the door at night, like the bedroom door, because we had been having, you know, like renovations and lockdown, all that stuff, and there was just, you know, things that had happened, and I started locking the door because I felt ungrounded and unsafe, and I just wanted to protect her. I just got out of that, and then this happened, and it started, and so I started locking myself in the room at night with her. You know, every noise, every gunshot, every explosion, you're just like, what was that? And then like there's this app called Zello, and the Home Hawks, who are incredible, have a channel on there, and so you're like listening in, and I'm like, it makes your heart rate go even higher, but at the same time you need to know what's going on, like who's where, what roads. You know, my parents up the road, my brother's up the road, we all in like a 800-meter triangle, so we have the same issues with the same roads and inroads coming in and out. And we each actually have a different road. They all meet up, but we each have a different road access, which, you know, coming into our roads in our area, which is in itself also a stress. So you're listening out for all the different names of the roads, and you just, you know, hoping that they're safe. And I remember hearing an explosion at like 1 a.m. and just getting up, and Nick was sleeping. Well, most of the times we only went to sleep at 1. It was just like horrific. And I mean, you guys with little kids know, with little ones that are up to like 2.5, they don't really sleep through the night as it is. So, you know, you're going to bed, they're waking up. Oh, it's just, yeah, can't even explain. And then you're like freaking out, waking up. I woke up, and then I heard an explosion. I woke up, and then I went to look outside because you think it's like nearby, and I just checked on the house and the garden and everything. And oh God, I'm getting emotional thinking about this. Oh my word, I actually can't believe that we lived through this. Whew. I'm just going to take a break. Okay, let's just try and carry on and push through. So I went through to check that everything was fine. And I mean, you just want to check that there's no fires and things, you know, like if you see your neighbor's house on fire, like my biggest thing is like, and I've been saying for years, to make a firebox so it has all your like prized possessions. So like your passports, your IDs, birth certificates, marriage certificates, photos, and now with paper like her British passport, like number 1, her birth certificate, like my business certificates for my PTY, like all that kind of stuff, and then her photo books and like jewelry, like I've got stuff made out of my grand's jewelry. So I've been saying for years, like we need to have that. So if you have if there's a fire, it's like a go box, you know, all your sentimental stuff, hard drives, that kind of stuff. So you know, I was just looking out to check there's no fires or anything, because I mean that's what kept happening, was like burning tires and things like that, like at the ends of roads and in areas, like just burning stuff and burning houses and burning buildings, and I think that's what's worse than the actual looting, is the burning. Like, okay, cool, take the stuff. And I think it's like hijacking and stuff, like take the stuff, just don't hurt me. Take the car, like they can be replaced, you know what I mean? Like it's the burning, it's just like horrific thinking about that, the destruction, like yeah. So woke up, look at that, then I started listening to the app, and then it's like, you know, it wakes you up again, because then you start freaking out because you're hearing like literally you're listening to them in real time. It's basically like a two-way radio between the people that in the control room and then the guys that are on patrol. And I mean, listen, I have never felt so unsafe and safe at the same time. I have never known that there are so many men and women in Durban North that have guns. That is the one thing I will take about. And that's my word for this year, was that I chose at the end of last year, was community. And oh my soul, like that I have to actually give it up to the universe and to life, that this year I have just, in every single way, there's been so much community. And this was all about community. Like I've never in my life experienced that. And even if I move and we don't live here, and you know, you'll always be South African, and South Africans do have that sense of community. I do think it's because we go through so much trauma together every day in general, that it kind of brings you together. But that sense of community, I've never in my life seen not seen, or actually yes, I have seen photos, but I've just heard from so many people how many people have guns. And then listening on the app, like I was like, damn, you know, in your road you probably have, like if there's 20 houses in your road, there are probably at least 5 that are armed, just so you guys know. So it was incredible the way these men and women just went out and did patrols, and they blocked off. So the thing about Durban North is there are so many roads in, like little roads. So we are near Riverside, and there are so many roads. The one goes up from Nandi Drive, where my parents, they would be first. They're like in that road that they would, if they had come up that road, they would have come up past their house and then down towards my brother's house and then down to our house to get to hypermarket. That's what people were worried about, was the hypermarket in Durban North. I don't know how it didn't get looted or burnt. I mean, and everyone was just, the community was protecting it because that is like our main shop here. And there's a spa in Riverside as well. But the main thing that they would have gone for would have been Hyper, because it's got appliances. And that's the one thing about the looting, was it wasn't just hungry people, which is, I totally understand. Like if you're hungry, I mean, there's such a disparity between all our economic levels that 100%, like if they're hungry, I would understand. But people were rocking up with trucks and cars and loading huge flat screen TVs and that I'm like, okay. And like this one, they actually got arrested, these ladies. It obviously must have been near the Macro, because they're in Cornubia, so it must have been near Macro there. And they put a video on Facebook, but they got arrested. It was like 2 or 3 fridges, full. They did take from, it was near Nick's warehouse, which I'll explain in a bit. And it was a cold storage food unit. So, and he recognized them from the video. He was like, oh, those are the burgers from next door, blah, blah, blah. Like let's just say 2 fridges, double door fridges, packed cheese, burger patties, everything. And then she just did this whole video panning around with appliances, and the whole of their bottom of their house was filled. And I'm also like, that's just 2 people who have taken that, when there are so many other people that actually are in need, like share it. So it wasn't food, it was just like stuff and appliances, and I totally understand, we are all privileged. I'm sitting here with a MacBook laptop, and I'm here on recording and like I'm not like, I understand how privileged I am. Trust me, I talk about white privilege all the time and call people out. But it was just the destruction as well, like the fires and the burn. I mean, that just, if it was just the stock, people can come back from that. But it was the burning. Like, I mean, that's millions and millions of damage per business, So, yeah, it was just, so you like just on alert, listening to the app, and you're hearing how many people are like out there, and they were barricading each of the roads into Durban North. But I mean, like hundreds. There were like 100 men at this one, and women, 100 at this one, 100 that. Like it was just like they were blocking it and trying to just be there, blocking it with their cars and with standing outside their cars with guns and stuff, and just trying to protect and just trying to intimidate if they did come and try and come down that road, to try to intimidate them to not come down there. And it's I don't actually know how these people did it every night for like 10 days or more. They were just every night, every day. It was a proper blockages in the beginning. We all stayed home. You couldn't really leave. You didn't want to leave, but the first few days. Then the shops were all closed, and they closed and looted, and they closed the Durban North shops as well, like groceries and stuff, because they didn't want the looters coming in. Especially imagine you like standing in a line, and then they come and they you just get shunted or shot or stabbed or whatever because you're waiting to get food. We were very lucky. We've got an amazing road community. We've got WhatsApp groups, and we're like all helping each other and bartering and stuff like that. We actually ended up having like more than you usually have, and we had bought a deep freeze out of white privilege. We bought a chest freezer in March last year, because with COVID, I didn't want to go to the shops often. I think it's too much of a risk for us, which is privilege in itself. And so we had stuff in the freezer, like we weren't going to go hungry. We had enough for like 2 weeks, if we had to. Yes, we might be eating plain naan bread and things like that, and not what you usually eat, but literally when you are traumatized, you don't actually care about that stuff, And what a privilege to actually have food enough that we could sustain ourselves for so long. So the shops and stuff, so it was just a general panic when they did eventually open them in like 2 days, I think. the queues were insane. So first of all, they didn't announce like what times and stuff because they didn't want it to be going out. But the queues were like kilometers long. So, and I mean, people hadn't done their shopping, on the Sunday, which usually they were. They're like, oh, I'll just go next week. So that, or tomorrow. And then that's what happened. So that was the food thing. For me, it was the security, the panic, the general fear. You didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know if they were coming into residential. And then they did, like in Phoenix and all those places, they went into residential and they were trying to loot. I saw videos of them literally, obviously I didn't share things that I didn't know was real in the time. It happened a lot with voice notes. They were just getting sent around. And then eventually people were like, hi, this is Dean McPherson from the DA. It is Thursday, and then you know it's real. But they were going into their houses and trying to jump the fence into this house. I mean, these Indian guys were amazing. They had like baseball bats and they were just like, get off my wall. It literally felt like a zombie apocalypse, even seeing that, and that they had to literally like smack people off their walls or climbing over their walls. Like, yeah, it is just, yeah. So I was listening on an app a lot. The home hawks were incredible. I mean, I don't know, they like literally, it's like community neighborhood watch, and now they must just jump into this massive operation. Like, honestly, kudos to them for jumping in and protecting and coordinating. And I mean, the police couldn't do anything. It literally was. And I'm talking from Durban North because I live in Durban North, like, and they were like Durban North to Amshlanga, but it was happening with communities in Morningside and in Hillcrest. Like, everyone just banded together and just, yeah, the police couldn't do nothing. We weren't sent the army was sent days later, and even then was like hardly helped. It was the community men and women that were standing there with their guns and not with their guns, and just standing there with their bodies and their cars. They are the heroes. They are the ones that kept everyone safe. They are the ones that prevented all the shops from getting looted and burnt down to the ground. So yeah, it was just, I cannot even explain. Like, I've never been on social media so much in my life, like on my phone, like nonstop. And I kept saying, I feel so bad because I'm on my phone nonstop, and I'm not even here. Like, mentally, I'm not even here for this poor child. And I'm like meant to be her sense of security. And here I was, like, my mind was just like constant. So yeah, it wasn't ideal, but what can you do? You just got to try and survive. And I just wanted to jump in. So we're going to be talking about this on the Self-Love Club next month with Janelle, about trauma. I just thought we all are so traumatized, because I did a balance with her on the Tuesday afterwards, and she was just like, oh my gosh, okay, we're going to do a general balance, but I'm going to balance you for PTSD. And you must see the stuff that came up. Fear, anxiety, oh no, just so much. She was just like, whew. And she pulled cards, and she was just like crying when the cards, like the emotion, they're so bad. But anyway, it's fine. And she balanced me and helped a lot. But she just said, you guys are going to have to just keep working at it, because you all have PTSD, and you're going to have to keep moving through it and feeling it and grieving and so it's been a lot. But so she's going to be talking about how we store it in our bodies, trauma and things like that. But the main thing I wanted to say was, she said that we all know fight or flight in situations, but there's also like freeze has also come up now. Like, you don't fight and you don't fly away, you just freeze. And now she has said there's a new one called fawn, and fawn is you jump into action and you're a doer. And that's what I did. Like, on the Tuesday, I was like, these guys we need to raise funds, need to do something. So I organized a Zapper account and put it out there to raise funds, because I mean, they are buying paintball guns and petrol. Like, you must hear non-stop people going and putting their own petrol in, and then organizing with the petrol stations, and the petrol stations were donating petrol, and you can go fill up here if you're doing. It was just like insane. So I just did a Zapper account and put it out there and used my social channels for good, and tried to do what I could to help, since I wasn't patrolling and we were at home. And so I just went into helping mode. So we raised so much money for them. It was incredible. I think it was like 54,000 just from Zapper, which could help pay them. And these are also people that have day jobs, the guys that run it. And there's only 6 people in like Home Hawks. And, for them to now give up everything and to be going for 24 hours, I was like, you guys need to You need to be paid for your time. That, and then EFTs from people in the UK. It was just incredible. And then we got another 17,000 after that, which I then donated to, I think it was 10 or 11 charities in Durban. Quite a few Durban North ones, and then there's a little lady in town who has a creche. I split it up between everyone. Every little bit helps. So some got 1,000, some got 500, some got 2,000, some got 3,000. And I gave her 5,000. This is a little black lady who runs a creche in the middle of town for the street kids while their parents go and look for jobs. She does it for free. She doesn't charge them, and no one funds it. Like, she's an NGO, she's registered, but not many people know about her. So I found most of the places I got from my friend Jodie, who she does so much fundraising. You would have seen her in the North Care News and all that kind of stuff. So I asked her, and she gave me the date. I said, I'm sending her the money, sending her $5,000. So, I mean, how incredible is that, to help others find jobs, to better their lives, and you looking after their kids and feeding them and everything for free. So I went into fawn mode, and that's what I did. So it kept me busy for that week. I couldn't mentally focus on work, so I focused on that, and I just pushed that as much as I could. And you guys all just came to the party. It was incredible. And so many people in Joburg and Cape Town and PE and East London and overseas. Like, you guys just were phenomenal. So thank you for creating my community and being my community and helping me do that. The one thing about fawn, which Janelle will talk about in our tier 2 community call, is you are not dealing with your emotions. So it's really bad, because then you just focus and you don't deal with it. So I am now having to deal with it, as you can hear when I'm getting emotional. Haven't dealt with it much. So I will have an appointment with her again this month and go through that. But yeah, it's been a lot. It's been traumatic. So that's why I've got some people that are going to share their voice notes on here as well. I'm pretty sure I'll talk about this again, like maybe get the guys from Home Hawks to chat about being on the front line and how it was for them. But yeah, I can't even explain. I've never wanted to jump in a helicopter and leave so fast in my life. But like I said, it was so weird. Like, I've never felt so in danger and so safe at the same time. But honestly, if those men and women were not at those roadblocks at each of our entrances, and for us, we are very, very close to 2 roads that come off. So one comes over a bridge, one comes off like from near the freeway, and then the other one that comes past my parents' house. So we have 3 entrances that could have come straight past our house. I was petrified, honestly. So we would have all been sitting ducks if we didn't have those community people out there risking their lives to be there. I remember at one stage they were down at the bottom. I saw a video of them all blocking near by the bird park, and yeah, they were like, there's 100 of them that had just come down, so broken away from the Queen Nandi. There was 100 of them that had come, of the looters that had come around, and they were by this looting this one place. It was like 2 kilometers from us. Yeah. I was like, I could run 2K, it's not far. So yeah, I don't know what more to say. It was just very traumatic, and I hope no one else has to experience it ever again. And I know my friends in Hillcrest, they were just, I'm not going to mention all the people that I know, but some of them literally were having to close the door in the bedroom, and the husband was trying to teach the wife how to use a gun so that the kids couldn't see. Like, it was that bad. So Hillcrest as well is just, everywhere was bad, but there's certain places that have informal settlements and like right on the cusp, and my one friend in Hillcrest, I was very worried about them, because you can see their houses from I think it's the M13, one of the freeways. You can see their houses, and they're all thatch, and people could literally just run down the Donga ditch. I mean, it's far away when you look at it, but it is like a valley, so they could run down there. And I mean, it's thatch, if you just torch one of them, So I was just very distressed about her and just kept watching. And that's, I don't think I want to talk about it for an hour, but I'll let everyone else share their experiences. But I don't think I'll ever be the same. I still hear noises and think it's gunshots. I was doing an angel reading the other day. Luckily, she's a Durban girl, so she understands. And the wooden fence gate slammed, and I was like, and my heart was racing so hard. Like, honestly, I've never, and I just said to her, like, oh my God, I thought that was like a gunshot again. And we're all living with PTSD. So if you're feeling that, I highly recommend speaking to someone, getting some help. How privileged are we that we can get help? And just moving through this, journaling, meditating. Yeah, that's why I'm really grateful for the Self-Love Club and that this is the topic, because I can talk on anything, let's be honest. I can make all the knowledge that I know, I can talk on anything, but I also like to research. So I just think that I'm also going to get a lot of healing from this month as well, which I really need, because I need to be there for Pepe and I need to be calm, and they pick up on everything, so yeah. But anyway, thank you for listening. This in itself has been healing, I think, and talking about it. So I hope it's helping some of you as well to move through those feelings and feel a little bit safer. Oh, another thing is like the helicopters. They used to be such a source of joy. Pepe used to love them and do the little baby signing from Signing Baby essay, the little airplane and that. But oh my soul, when they're coming past and over your house at 2 a.m, non-stop throughout the day and night, it's like it gets a bit much, like anxiety levels all-time high. So anyway, I hope that you're all well. I hope that you're going to move through this. For those friends of ours overseas and family that felt so helpless and couldn't do anything, so distressed, I'm sending you love and thank you for your thoughts. It does mean a lot. I think that, you feel hopeless and helpless, but just knowing that you were thinking of us was enough. So I hope that this has helped some of you, and I hope that the next few voice notes will help you as well. Stay safe.
Hi, Jane. This is another mommy here. I just thought I would share my story of the past week's experience as a mom in Durban with everything that went down. I'm a mom to a 1-year-old girl. Things went chaotic the last week, to put it mildly. And I just thought I'd share my story of people's goodness and the genuinely nice and good people of Durban. So, my story is like many moms in this area. We did not have enough diapers, we ran out of formula. So, the same story as most moms in our area. So, I went to the hyper on Wednesday to fall into the queue. We stood there for 7.5 hours just to get in for a few necessities. However, while I was standing in the queue, probably whereabouts the old age home was, there was a man standing with us, and we were just talking, like the community does. And he went onto his cell phone and he phoned someone who was inside Pick n Pay, because he heard my plight being a mom of a 1-year-old who is dairy intolerant. So she can't just have any type of formula. She is on Isomil. So he heard my plight and he phoned someone inside, begging them to buy the Isomil for me, because by the time I got there, it was sold out. This is a stranger. I've never seen him before in my life. I have no way of contacting him saying thank you. Neither do I have any way to thank the man who actually bought the formula. But this is my story. Two random strangers who I've never met before. They had no way of knowing that I really was a mother. And they bought us 2 tins of formula. And it really was a life-changing moment for me, because it showed me in this devastation and this absolute anarchy that we were experiencing, you still get good people who are genuinely out to make the world a better place. So I got home after my 7.5 hour trek, and I read the plight of many other moms, and I put a message out there that I have an extra tin of formula. Very unwillingly, I decided to part with one as I was blessed with two. So I put the message out there, and a dad contacted me, drove all the way from Hillcrest down to Durban North to collect the second tin. And then he told us this heartbreaking story of his baby not having formula for more than a day, and that he tried multiple stores up in Hillcrest and Cowie's Hill. And then in Cowie's Hill, an old lady prayed for a tin of formula from heaven for him. And here we have another story of people just being genuinely nice. And I gave him the tin that I was blessed with. So this is just one of the many, many stories that I'm sure you will get, with stories of how the community stood together and helped each other. So that's just my story. I'm sure you will get many, many other stories.
Hi, Jane. Yeah, the experience has definitely been completely horrendous, but at the same time, we've learned some incredible things about our local community and the community of South Africa in general. The bad, it was completely terrifying. It started on the Sunday evening with looting and burning. My husband and my father came up to the road where we work because it's literally 5 minutes or less from where we both live, and it was just horrific what they saw. And it was incredibly sad to see police vehicles there. They had a couple of police vehicles there where they either just sat in their cars or didn't really get involved. The looters were throwing different items that they'd been looting at the civilians there. My Nick had a kettle thrown at him. My dad had a coffee maker thrown at him. It was really unpleasant. And then Monday was when it really got bad. Our warehouse, we were storing pallets of goods for a few customers, particularly two very large pallets of whiskey, because obviously we weren't allowed to transport it during the alcohol bans. Um, they all got taken. Everything was gone. Various other items around our warehouse, like our generator for load shedding, etc. Our warehouse was looted, and it was terrifying. We knew that they were on the road and really not in a pleasant way, and my dad and my husband came up here basically just to try and see if they could get them out and defend the premises. And I mean, it's a massive industrial park. There's multiple other warehouses here. It was bad. Like, they came up here to try and obviously defend it and get important equipment out, like our our computer servers, um, uh, important computers like mine with all of our accounting programs and all of our customer information on, stuff that would be really difficult to actually replace. And they were met with the rioters and looters now in the premises. They'd gotten into the industrial park, hundreds of them. 60 or more of them had gotten into our warehouse itself. My dad and Nick were basically left to fight them all out themselves and get them all out and protect what we had. They'd already taken most of the whiskey and destroyed so much stuff on the premises as it was. And the two of them, just the two of them, it was, sorry, it actually freaks me out to have to go over it again. And I don't want to get emotional because, yeah, they were nearly killed on Monday. It was terrifying. And the fact that there were no police present, no army present, even though we'd been told that the army were being deployed, it was probably one of the worst days of our lives. It just got worse and worse. We ended up them coming back into the warehouse at some point, another, at least once, most probably twice. They ended up breaking the glass into the office above the bathrooms, and they got in and they stole a few pieces of equipment. We think that part may have been an inside job because obviously it was only really the equipment that stores all the camera memory on and the screen that goes with it. They didn't seem to take anything else, although they rifled through all of our drawers looking for the petty cash tin. But by that point, obviously, my dad and Nick had gotten stuff out. Clearly wasn't looking for food. There were other items they could have taken to sell. They didn't. Computer monitors, a TV screen. There was food everywhere they didn't touch. So it was definitely with an ulterior motive. And then it was just days and days of further stress. Like on the Tuesday night, they set fire to the warehouse behind us, the warehouse next to us, across the block. And it got to a point we were terrified that the fire was reaching our actual building itself because it was so close. Half of our fleet of trucks was parked off if they went up, that would be millions to recover. We would not be able to carry on doing the type of work we've been doing. So our business would have taken a massive knock. Not to mention that 2 warehouses down from us has an LPG gas tank of about, we think, 20,000 piped in. And there's definitely a 20,000 litre ethanol tank a few warehouses down from that, which is piped into the building. So if obviously the fire got into those buildings, the explosion would have been horrendous. And we could not get people up here to help. We were begging, pleading. I was sending messages to the area groups until eventually someone took me seriously and got the fire department involved, and they got up here. Yeah, it's been utterly horrific. I actually can't even go into any more depth about how bad it was. However, the good. I have never felt such a close sense of community with the people in my area. I've lived here all my life. And I mean, people that I see walking into the shops on a day-to-day basis that I might know by sight, I might not know personally, everyone has banded together in the most beautiful way. We feel like a family, swapping different produce for other things. We've been making sure everyone in the area is fed, everyone has food. The different area watch groups ensuring that milk and bread is brought in, setting up a small station where farmers can come and bring fresh produce, and made sure it's guarded. It's been a beautiful thing to see, and it's been all around KZN. All of the areas have been sticking together, banding together. We've been helping people in different areas. Other areas have been helping us. And I think that if we let it, it could definitely be something that will make this country stronger than ever before, because we're joining together people of all different walks of life to support each other and help each other. So I'm just really hoping that after all this rain, a rainbow comes out.
Thanks for listening to Unselfishly Me. Follow us on Instagram at unselfishlyme and check out our website www.unselfishlyme.com.